Hello there, my name's Vince from My Mate Vince, and I'm really excited to do this one here. So, backstory is my friend's just bought a flat, and he said that there's quite a few things that look old up in the attic. They're just left dumped up there for years and years and years. So I said, let me come along and have a look. And I was there this morning, or early afternoon, and yeah, I picked this up along with a few other things a few hours ago. And I'm so excited, I thought I'm getting stuck into this straight away. And the reason is, I feel like I did when I was a kid, or at the beginning of the trying to fix videos, because I have got zero idea what is going on here. Let me show you the inside. Not only do we have Yosemite is it, Sam here, we also have, how good is that? Is it Ralph the dog from Sesame Street or the Muppets? But yeah, love that. Lorenzo. Now, keyboard, electric. But it can't be like a normal electric keyboard that you've seen on my channel maybe once or twice, because looking down here, it looks like we've got sort of like dampers, like it looks like they're hitting something like a normal piano. And we've got all weird stuff going on here. So when I do this here, I can see various things lifting up deep inside here. I'll show you more when I bring it over to the map. So I have zero idea how this works, because I cannot see any speaker around here. It says it's made in Italy, which is nice. And also, I can't see any audio jacks anywhere. No like 6.35, you know, 1/4 inch jacks to plug any speakers in or anything. So I'm very curious to even see how this works. And that for me, even if I can't get it working, is going to be the most exciting thing, because how does this generate sound? Now, I'm going to be a bit wary plugging it in, because old style plug here with no insulation. But I can see that the wires are stripped here. So I'm just going to plug it in. It seems to make a noise, but nothing happens when I hit the keys. So watch this. Bit wary about doing this. I can hear a hum, but nothing's happening. I'm going to turn it off. Actually, I want to try these over here quickly. Right. There's a hum. So maybe that's a capacitor hum, or maybe something's stuck. But I'm really looking forward to getting into it. I don't know how I'm going to get into it. It looks like the hinge has been replaced here. This is just looks like a curtain rail that's been brought across here to strengthen it together. But, and we've got holes here for some reason. I think it's going to be an interesting one. Let's get it over to the map, and then we can see, hopefully, what take it apart. Somebody's written F inside there. Hopefully we can take it apart and see how it works, and then see if we're able to fix it. Just notice as well that we've got a nice big heavy duty leather little strap here. Must be to tie up the cable. It does look like that. It was nicely made, and we have a different colour plastic going throughout here. Because it's been in the attic with a load of slate roof, all that slate dust for the last 100 years has infiltrated the attic, and I think this has probably been up there for the last 20 or 30 or more. So I'm just going to get a wet wipe, give it a quick clean, purely to make it nicer to work on. Look at that. Perfect colour of slate. Shows how long it's been up there. Right, that will make it slightly nicer to work on. Right, this thing, as you can imagine, is massive. So I'm going to undo these screws here, because we have screws all along here. I'm wondering if the piano bit will lift up then. So the reason this is exciting for me is, if you were to give me a bread maker, I've already looked at a few, and I kind of know what the inside's going to be like, and I know there's a good chance it might be like a thermal fuse. But this reminds me of being young, where you have the interest of what's inside something. You have zero idea of how it works. And then if I was to take apart a PlayStation 4, I've still got zero idea how it works, because I don't know what each of the chips will do. But often on older stuff, you might be able to work it out by just looking at it. Like you did when you were a child, and that's what was nice. Like Tommy Super Cup football, for example. I'll leave that there. No idea how it works until you take it apart, and then it becomes more obvious. I mean, an amazing amount of gears and everything in there, and I'm not saying I understand how all the gears work, but you get a general idea of how the game works, while beforehand, it just all looks like magic. So how is this producing sound when there's no speaker? And you're not physically whacking the keys against something. But yet you are physically whacking the keys against something, because I can see that it's got fingers going off. Let me open it up and show you. I love that. So look in here, look at these. Yeah? So that's, I don't know what that's doing, but it's doing something, isn't it? It's not like a normal electric keyboard. Of course I could Google it, but I haven't on purpose. Because when you were young, you didn't have Google. I think these are original, although someone's been in here because it hasn't got the cups, unless the cups have broken over time. But they do look to be nicely spaced, so I think this is factory here. Right, let's see now. Are you going to lift up? Obviously, I am unplugged. Oh, yes you are. Right, so let's put it here. Let's try to drop that down. So I need this all to come out. Why are you not coming out here? Oh, we got ones at the side. Keep those separate. Aha! Ha 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 ha. Now, oh yes, come on, come out. I've got to be careful because remember we have had it plugged in, so there might be big cat. Whoa! It's a massive fan. What on earth? Yes! Oh no way! I was expecting something really, really complicated. From here, this is the power cord from the bottom here. What on earth? So we have a power cord down here coming up to here. This goes straight into the motor. The red one goes to the switch, comes back. And we have a motor here with a fan. It's seized. That's seized up. So either it's misaligned or it hasn't been used in so many years. But where's the air? So the air's generated there. How does pressing the keys... So there must be an air seal somewhere. Here, this... Hold on. Let me put it this way. It must be sealed in here. No, but this is a bit of wood. No way. Hold on a minute. Is this like, you know, when you do the clicky finger thing on a wind-up toy, like ping, 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 ping along? Have a look here. Can you see these things? And can you see it's going all the way along? Oh, listen. And then we have ones here as well. Okay, how on earth? I've got zero idea of how that works now. So this is clearly spinning to create airflow. And it's on a spring to put it back down. But how? I don't understand how the motor's spinning where the air... Is there a hole in here that spreads out in this tube here maybe? This big metal thing? Because look, it's sealed all around here as if no air can get out. It's a bit cracked here, so that could make a difference just here. But there's a massive gap here anyway. right now we got that jammed up. Oh, they're all jammed. I think it's just this plastic thing which is not aligned. Okay, sorry, I'm talking about over here. It's not easy to film. Let's try to get the motor working, and then maybe we can Google it to actually see how it works. I know now it's through airflow. Look at this, lollipop stick. Oh my word, I haven't seen them in ages with a joke on. Do you remember they used to have jokes on them? When is it best to buy a budgie? When it's going cheap. Oh my word. CHEEP. Oh. Wow, I completely forgot. See, there's things like that. I completely forgot that they used to have jokes on lollipop sticks. Right. Okay, so we need to get this moving again. I think it's just become gummed up with grease, rock hard grease. So let's undo that. The thing that makes it for me is that sticker there. So I presume this thing sounds more like an organ then, if it's using air. Look at that there. I think we just need to clean. Do we need to go further than that? How do we take that off now? They look like they're sealed, you see. If I was to undo that and that. No, because that comes off from there. I wonder, could we just reach in there and clean it and get some 3-in-1 oil? Might even work now. I suppose it's one of those things, once it starts spinning it's fine, but maybe it didn't have enough, it was just humming rather than spinning. Unless, of course, there's so much play it was sticking like that, or like that. But I don't think so. It depends, it might have been put in the attic working, or it might have failed, and that's the reason it was put up in the attic. That doesn't sound too healthy. I'm going to start cleaning with IPA, and then I'm going to worry about greasing up. So I'm going to get some gloves on, and I'm going to try to get rid of some of this grease with some isopropyl alcohol. Right, so let's clean up here to begin with. Let's see, is it going to come off on here? Yeah, I can see brown on here already. Let's give this a good clean. So it looks like very similar motors that you would get in the things like the fans that I've done on the channel, you know, like Advent, my Advent series. I think I did a few fans on that. Also air fryers, the fans on air fryers are a similar type thing. These AC fans. So maybe this isn't as old as I think. I don't know, I'll have to look up the age of it. Or maybe the design of AC motors haven't really changed much. Look at that. So maybe if one of the keys weren't working properly, maybe you'd have to replace one of these. Maybe they could be bent up by accident. So I better be a bit careful. I think I'm going to leave it at that. So I would have normally put 3-in-1 oil there, but I was told in a comment ages ago to try super lube. Sounds a bit rude. And it's synthetic grease. So I'm going to try that, because maybe that will work better on something like this. But you can put it down in the comment section what you think. This is it here. I bought it from Amazon. I'm sure it's, I think it would be cheaper in other countries, but I wanted to give it a go. So I am going to, see, multi-purpose synthetic grease. So I'm going to put quite a bit on. Where are we spinning now? So I need to put lots in the bearing here, around here, and also in the middle. But I also need to get it deep down here, where it's, hopefully you can see just in here. I'm going to have to put that on with a screwdriver or something. Alright, let's get something very small. I use the tweezers. And in there as well. I'm going to spin it now. I've got to be careful that I don't break the windings of this. And let me just put a bit more on that bottom one. Problem is, it's not really flowing like 3-in-1 oil would. It's not really going in where I want that one to go. Let's give it another go. Let me try to use the thin part of the tweezers. Okay, well, you can see how nice that's spinning now. Looks a bit wobbly, but I haven't got the top on. Wow, that's really spinning good. So now let's put lots on here. So I'm going to put some around here to allow a bit of movement that way and fill up that there. There we go. Now that should be loads. And we're going to screw that back on. Look at that. Well, it's not fouling. Doesn't spin as nice with this one on. But I think it's going to be free enough. All right, let's put it back in the kitchen. Let's do up a couple of screws to keep it out of harm's way. I wonder, could I turn it on now and see that spin? Maybe. Is it safe to turn on? We've got that there, so it doesn't matter if they're pressing there. Yeah, let's plug it in, let's be brave and see if that starts spinning. But what we'll do is let's neaten up this. I'll keep the old plug on it for the time being. What we got in here? 13 amp, well that's going to be too much. What watts is this? 60 watts. Well, it's less than 1 amp, isn't it? So we definitely don't need a 13 amp. So the lowest common one is a 3 amp. Let's see if we can swap that with a 3 amp. So if it was 240 watts, then it would be 1 amp because it's 240 volts, I think. So the fact it's only 60 watts, it's still way under 240 watts. So even if there's a bit of startup surge or something, well, this is going to go to 3 amps anyway. So this is going to allow 240 times 3, which is 720, I think. No, I've never seen a plug like that before, where it's done like that with the forks. It's like an IDC connection on a telecom. Right, let's put a little bit more wire through because it's broken here. So if you were to sell this in the UK now, I don't know about if it was for spares or repair, it might be okay, but you're not allowed these ones. They have to be insulated. So an insulated plug will be more like this here. Because I think on these, there might be a slim chance that if a child was plugging it in, that a finger, it could become live, or a tiny finger, or maybe a bit of metal or something was there. And somebody told me ages ago in the comments section, and this is such a thing that would have happened at my secondary school, but I think these might have been phased out when I was at school. I'm not sure what date it was. but it was the perfect size to put a penny in. And then somebody would say, plug that in, and then they would plug it in and of course get an almighty bang. That shows you the standard of schooling. And it would have definitely happened in my school. Oh, fond memories. Those halcyon days. Anyway, I'm going to whiz through this now. I'm just changing the plug over. It's not that interesting. Let's give a shout out to the My Mate Vince Massive, and then we can see if this is working. The members this month are Keemon Services, Kip Hakes on YouTube, Max Rokotansky, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeeps.com, DJ VG, Pigsy, Anthony Dean, Russ Melanson, Ricard Berglund, Shamsa Al Sawadi, Stuart Park, Stephen from the Broken Past on YouTube, Lee Benz, and AJ Computer Services UK. Right, now, this plug is back together. I must stress it's not a proper plug because it hasn't got insulation on, so it would need to be changed, but at least now it's safe for me to plug in. But if I was to move this onto someone else, I would have to put a proper insulated plug on. Let's see if it's producing sound now. Oh, we want to see it spin, don't we? Hold on now. Okay, I feel safe doing that there. Well, should I plug it in? No, I'm going to get an extension lead. No, I should be okay because we've got an on and off switch here. All right, what can go wrong? Not much. Let's plug it in and see. Here we go. I'm slightly nervous. Let's zoom out a bit. I'm going to go from this side here. You ready? Spin. Amazing. Still not making any noise. Oh, does it have to use the box? Oh my word. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I think it has to use the box as the sound. I'm unplugged. Yes, it does. Look, can you see we have felt all around here? So it generates not a vacuum, but a sealed thing there. And then when you press this, the air comes out and the air comes. Yes, brilliant. The air comes. Hold on, hold on, hold on. So these things here, when you press these in here, the air comes rushing past these little, and that's what makes the sound. I think that's it. Oh, fantastic. Right, so you do have to have all the screws and everything in. So the very fact that the wood's kind of chipped here and stuff could be a problem. Could be. Oh, it goes in, there's a little groove it goes in at the back. Sorry I can't show you all this, but it's kind of heavy. Come on, there we go. We are in. Is that going to go in? Right, that's not wanting to go in. How do you go in? I think that one's caught. Some of these might be a little bit bent. There we go. There we go. So it's just this one. Now it's these two. Now it's this one. There we go. Right, I won't put any screws in. Let's see if we get any sound out of it now. Please. Come on. Oh my word. You can play more than one. Hold on, it's air. You'll be able to play infinite notes. This is amazing. Oh, I knew I was going to like this one. I knew I was going to like it. Okay, I am going to bring it over to the kitchen. I'm going to give it a nice good clean, and then I want to look up what this is here. Looks like the kid's been doing chalk on here. I want to look up what it is and yeah, read up a little bit about them. Amazing. So I need to pop the screws back in. Some of the screws are just screwing into thin air because the wood on the inside's chipped in a few places, but some of them do bite. And then I'm going to bring it into the kitchen and give it a nice good clean. Normally I use wet wipes, but this is so big and so dirty. I'm going to use a magic eraser on this one with some warm soapy water. So when I'm doing all that, I'm going to play a little bit of music, so kick back and relax and watch this thing get cleaned up. And then, oh, one of the keys do fall off. I have to glue that back on with some super glue. And then we're going to end the video with me trying to play something. Also, I'm going to show you one of these for sale on eBay, and it's an absolute beauty. It puts this one to shame.
Than all the rest, I'm quite old-fashioned where I had sometimes played chess. And when I'm out, I'm looking for that vintage fling. But all complexions that I adore, so hard to find, these seem impossible to score. So I dream on to someday find that vintage love. The lights were dimmed as our eyes met, and you saw me. And forevermore, I like to share that vintage dream.
Do you know, before I die, I would love it if I could get through a super glue. Get every last drop out of a super glue. I've never had that. Right, there we go, we're out. Okay. So, I'm just gonna put it on this here. And, whoa, God, that's strong. Oh God, that got my lungs and my eyes. Ah. Ugh, it's back of my throat.
The lights were dimmed as our eyes met, and you saw me. And forevermore, I like to share that vintage dream. And forevermore, we're living in that vintage dream.
You can see there is obviously lots of damage to it, but if it works, for me, the interest is in how it works rather than the finished item. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it as is. It's much cleaner now. You can touch it without feeling that you need a bath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of reading up about these, see if there's any videos on them, and maybe I can play you out. Maybe I can try to learn something very short. Right, I haven't watched any videos yet, but there's quite a few for sale, and they don't really go for big money, like £70, £120. But this one looks absolutely immaculate. So if you have a look here, do you know these things up here that go in the holes that I mentioned earlier? Well, they're for feet, they're legs. They're legs, so you can, you know, sit down and play this. So if you have a look there, you screw these into the bottom. So yeah, there we have it, and that bit at the bottom is for the cable. You can see there the cable on the bottom there. So yeah, that's immaculate, that one there. And I'm thinking about it, I just looked up how a church organ works, because essentially this is an organ like you would get in church. And years ago it used to be, I think, hand-pumped bellows, but now they have electric blowers for the bellows. So basically this is like a church organ. So it is an electric keyboard, but it's more like an organ than a keyboard. So enjoyable. I'm going to watch some videos on it.
30 minutes later.
Here we go, musical maestro. I've got my son helping me because I've tried to learn something and it's just not sinking in. Hopefully you will recognise this. I'm not going to say what it is. Put it down in the description if you recognise it. Now, I'm going to turn it on. I like the way it has to build up. So there's nothing there. It builds up pressure. And now it comes. Here we go. Are you ready? See if you recognise this. Look at that. I love this thing. It's got a little bit of noise to it. You can't control the volume, but what for me, the nicest thing was just working how it works. Now, I'm not 100% sure if you can add it down to the comment section. The fingers, are the fingers vibrating with the air going past? I presume they must be, but I don't quite get that. Because if you've got a constant flow of air, I'm not sure why they would be vibrating like that. So that's the bit that I'm a little bit confused about. How it's actually, I know it needs to build up the pressure. I understand that you do this to let the air out. What I don't know is what's happening with that finger. I presume it must be vibrating to give the sounds. Also, the other thing is you've got a constant whir from the fan here. But yeah, amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed that. That's the only one that I remember. So there we have it. A massive thank you to my friend Dan. Between the lollipop stick, between the stickers, and between this, I've just thoroughly enjoyed every single moment of it. And I think that will be a lasting fix. It's so simple. Switch, fan, that's it electronically. So why would it not last for absolutely ages? I'm not too sure. I think these are the lowest scale of here, because we have A, and then this would be A here. C, D, E, F, G, A. See, I'm so tone deaf, I can't even tell you if that. I know that's lower. But that sounds lower to me than that one. I don't know, but anyway, like this thing a lot. They're not a lot of value, but they, for me, they're nice to see how it works on the inside. I wasn't expecting that at all. So there we have it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all very soon. Thank you so much for watching.